What's going on, everyone? Welcome back for another week of the Final Points brought to you by Fantasy Points. I'm your host, Dom Cintorino, joined as always by Matt Gannon. Matt, what's going on?
3M Open Week. Will Goddard touch 30%? The world may never know. We'll have to see. I know the major season's over, but we still got money to make. I'm excited for this week. Last year, I was like 3M Open blows, worst tournament. Ended up being really fun. Down that stretch, that Cam Champ run, it was a really fun tournament. So I'm excited to get into all the ownership, all the players, all the ranges.
Yeah, it's a fun course to watch. And FedEx Cup playoffs coming up. Got 3 weeks left to kind of make your push into the top 125, and we got a lot of first year guys on that little bubble. We got some pretty big names on that bubble, so it'll be interesting to see who shows out. Obviously, you can say it's a weak field or whatever you want to do, but at the same time, these guys have to perform well, get these FedEx Cup points, and see what they can do here in the next 3 weeks or so. You said it, major season's over. It's kind of crazy that we only have 6 weeks left in the 2021-2022 season, isn't it?
It is kind of sad. It is kind of sad, but it's been a fun ride we've been on. So I'm excited to keep going with it, but it is coming around the corner quicker than ever.
Yeah. So TPC Twin Cities, we'll touch on the course real quick. It's a par 71, playing just over 7,400 yards. Back when we did the Mexico Open, I kind of comped these two courses to each other. Went through the crossover between the two and kind of checked out, to be honest. Cam Champ showed up to Mexico with a T6. Finau, who's had 3 straight top 30s, was T2 in bad form. Ches Reavie was T11 in his only attempt at the 3M and finished T13 at the Mexico. So something to look at. I just kind of scrolled the leaderboard, and if guys who are rating out with me or rating out well for me played good over there, something to look at a little bit. Me and Sam touched on it, but just the amount of bunkers there are, a longer par 71, which is a little bit rare. Obviously gives you the same type of approach shots and whatnot. What are you looking at from a statistical perspective for this week?
Be in the fairway, hit greens, but have the ability in your career to hold a ton of putts. You don't have to be an elite putter, but I need to see at some point that you had the capability to make 20 birdies or near that. So I'm looking at that more than I usually would. I definitely cross-checked my references with prior results, not only this year, the past few years, because this court's very cut and dry. What you have to do, you have to hit the fairway, you have to hit your spot here. There's no schematics like there was last week at the Open. It's very hit your ball here, hit your ball here. So a lot of guys can do that, but also, can you make 20 birdies? Can you have that pop putting week? And I don't need you to be a top 30 putter on tour. I just need you to be able to have those pop weeks. So I went with more explosion guys who can show that they can turn it on at a week at a time.
Yeah, and there's some guys who are really inconsistent putters, but you have to look at who can have that ceiling week, because these are bigger greens. You're going to want to hit it close. Like you said, you don't need the best putter in the field, because if they're not hitting it close, last year. Exactly. Had a ceiling week on the greens and was plenty to do it. How much are you baking distance into it? Because I'm more looking at good drives and total proximity, I guess, rather than just
straight distance
off the tee. Which I get the whole Matthew Wolff one and Cam Champ one, but you have to remember Michael Thompson also won. So it's not driving distance correlates a little bit, but I don't think it's all that important.
Yeah, and I'm happy we had that Michael Thompson year, because if we didn't have that Michael Thompson year, everyone would just throw these guys out who can't who are just not as long as the bombers. Which, if you're playing out of the fairway and you know that you're good with your irons, and can hit these greens, obviously distance is going to help. It helps anywhere. It's never going to hurt. But just like Cam Champ, Matthew Wolff, if they're not on their A game with the driver, they're dead. Because just to the left we saw Champ on 18 last year. He got in trouble. Good thing he didn't go right, because he would have been in the water. So there's water all over this course. I'm not sure the exact number of water hazards, but it's a lot. It's similar to PGA National. So, distance helps, but you can't be all over. I'll get there when we get there at 6K. But so be able to hit your spots and be able to have a pop putting week.
All right. With that being said, let's get into this massive 10K range.
This is the biggest range of the year. It's got to be.
Yeah, I said it before the show, even in the alternate fields and when the fields are really weak, we never get really less than 4 guys. I think I've seen 4 once that I can remember, but 3 is a different story, especially with no withdrawals. Regardless, Finau 10-5, Matsuyama 10-3, and Sungjae Im 10 flat. I think you can really make the case for any of these guys. I mean, it's pretty clear that these are the top 3, and there's a massive tier break after that. So if you want to sprinkle and have some exposure to all 3 guys, I don't think that's a bad idea. I really don't. If it's someone like you that's doing a tight player pool, obviously that's not really in the cards. But if you're building a lot of lineups and want to have exposure to these guys, they all are fine. My preference is Finau. 10-5. I'm not too worried about him being the highest price because there's a lot of ways you can save money. Salary has not been an issue in my builds. I think it's a week where you can leave a decent chunk on the table. But Finau, riding him for weeks, no reason to hop off just yet. The comp, obviously, I mentioned to the Mexico, he was T2 where he kind of found his form, plays the longer par 4 as well. We know he has distance, and those par 4s from 450 to 500 and over 5 are going to play as the most difficult ones on the course. So seeing Finau have success on those, being number 1 in the field in the last couple months, goes a long way. So where do you sit with these 3 guys?
I went back and forth, actually.
Yeah.
Landed on Finau, but on Monday, I bet that Hideki 19-1 on Bet365. I was just like, this is a great number for the field that we have. And then I did my modeling. He rated out first in my model, which was great. But then I just deep dived everything. And it wasn't really like it was pulling hairs because Finau and Hideki, they rate out better in different. Finau is obviously a little bit longer, but Hideki's a little bit more accurate. Hideki's probably better in the key approach ranges and better with his irons total. But it's kind of consistent form at this course versus Hideki, who doesn't have the same form that Finau has. He's been here 3 times, and he has a 28th, a 3rd, and a 23rd versus Hideki's 1 appearance at 7 in 2019. Obviously, Hideki can turn it on at any time, but Hideki coming off of those 2 rough performances on links, and then before that, it was like a mixed bag of everything: the withdrawals, the DQs, the missed cuts, the high finishes. I don't really know what I'm getting with Hideki right now.
Exactly.
On the fence for live. I just don't know what I'm getting. And it's not like Finau's 35% and Hideki's 19%. It's going to be 24, 22, something along those lines. It's not going to be a crazy thing. So I'm going to go with Finau in all of my lineups, start all of my lineups at 10-5. And he's a great class player above the 9K range, above the 8K range. I think it's kind of a no-brainer for me. I'm taking Finau up top. And I went back and forth with Sungjae too. It was just like similar things. They're both good at different things, but the form versus the good form that he's in right now versus the course form he has, I think Finau's the guy.
With the not softer pricing, but with some value down the board a little bit, would it ever cross your mind to play 2 of these guys?
No, because
I don't think so either.
I found some bullets down low that I liked. I didn't do that, but I don't think it's a bad idea. I'm just gonna go with.
If you are in love with 2 of these guys, go for it.
Which I'm not.
I'm not either. And I talked on the show with Sam last night a little bit, looking at the leaderboard last year. So 15 golfers finished T15 or better at the 3M Open in 2021. 7 of them played in the Open Championship the week before, and only 3 of those 7 made the cut. So obviously playing 4 rounds and then the travel time kind of weighed on some of these guys, and it showed. And then looking at the pricing, of the 15 guys who were T11 or better at the 3M last year, only 1 guy was over $8,300. That was Louis, who was T3 at the Open Championship and then turned in a T2 the next week at the 3M.
I think he backdoored that too, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Yeah. And then 12 of the 15 guys were in the 7 or 6K range. 9 of which were 7 and 3 of which were 6K. So like I said, if you do love 2 guys at the top, sure, go for it. But there are a lot of guys in this mid to high 7s, low 8s that did pop, and it showed. So one thing to kind of keep in mind with the majors coming before a week, and especially the Open Championship, that's the only reason I wouldn't play 2 of these 3 guys. But I think you do have to have one of them.
Yeah, and we know how volatile this course could be. Just any course with this much water and any course that has 3 consecutive winners who are over 100 to 1. These guys, I would not be surprised if these guys finish T10. And if they miss the cut, I'm not shocked at all.
Yep.
So I'm not going to put all my eggs in these. At least I'm going to pick one of them, and then hopefully I can make the cut and have a high finish. I'm not going to risk it with 2 of them because I really think one of these guys will miss the cut. Like I really
Absolutely, if not both.
Yeah. So I'm just going to go with Finau, and it looks like you are as well, at least mainly.
100%. Let's jump to the 9K range. Another one that's just not big. We got 7 guys, 9 to 10K. Wasn't there a week we had 7 in the 10K?
Yeah,
or 6?
That was recently. We had 6 or 7 in the
It was
10K
one of the.
range alone.
It was either Masters or PGA. I want to say.
Yeah.
Could be wrong, but either way, gotta really make some decisions up here, else you're gonna have like $4,000 left. I went with one guy here as well, but I'll let you kick this off.
I went with one guy here as well, and I originally went with 2, but I went with Adam Hadwin, and it was kind of like it seems like it's like not contrarian, but it feels like it is because everyone I feel like is flocking to Sahith or Davis, and I had Maverick, but Maverick's ownership is much higher than I thought it was going to be. I'm seeing upwards of 26. Hadwin's not far behind, but I just feel like Sahith and Davis are going to take over this range. I'm seeing Sahith come in a little bit lower than I'd expect, but I feel like it's going to be over 20 for sure. Obviously, Davis is going to get the majority of it, I would assume, but I went with Adam Hadwin here. And it's kind of just a gut decision because I bet both Hadwin. I bet Hadwin and McNeely. I originally bet Hadwin, McNeely, Thigala, and was going to have a 4-man card in the 20s, but I took off Thigala because he was a little bit too popular for me. So I went with Hadwin, and this only guy in this 9K range, and we know what we're getting with Adam Hadwin. Obviously, the results are great. He's got a 6th and a 4th place finish here. Very accurate, very steady with his irons, very steady with his driver. And he is a guy who's very, very, very capable of doing it with his putter too. So
exactly.
I'm just all the way in Hadwin, but I did bet Maverick McNeely too. Just didn't play him in DFS.
Yeah, and with Hadwin, it's like, how long ago was it that he was the betting odds favorite and missed the cut? And now we get him in the 9K range where like I feel like they could have easily bumped him up to the 10K flat or 99 at least. But
he was, I mean, the past like 2 months, he's been in like these weird events. He's been mega chalk.
Yeah.
Mega chalk.
Speaking of mega chalk, I am going to go Davis Riley.
I mean, it's a good play. Let's hear it.
Fantasy points.
It's a good play, at least.
Yeah, me too. Our fantasy points projections on the site currently have him at 32.5% owned.
It's insane.
Would I be shocked? I don't think I'd be that shocked if he was over 30%, to be honest.
Great price for this field.
Honestly, a pretty good price and hard to believe, but I looked back. This is the most expensive Davis Riley has ever been priced on DraftKings.
Really? Wow.
Yes. He was 8,900 at his last event, I want to say, but I don't know if it was I forgot what one it was, but Travelers, almost a month since he's played, he was T64, led the field off the tee, gaining over 5.5 strokes, best round of his career, which isn't a whole lot of a sample size, but it's there. Mexico Open success, had a top 5 finish there. He's been making a ton of birdies over the last 2 months. Top 5 in approach, tee to green, birdie or better. Top 10 in total procs and good drives gained. Talked about having good drives gained, pumped up a little bit more than off the tee or driving distance. So I'm in on Davis Riley. I think the 9K flat is nice, and I like the mini break that he's been on.
Yeah, all these guys are definitely feel like one of these guys could win this event. Like it might come down to this event. And I like Sahith as well. His form is awesome. He has a miscut here in his only appearance, but he also had a miscut in his only appearance at the Travelers. And what did he do there? Probably should have won. So definitely don't hate any of these guys. And Maverick is kind of getting a lot of hate in the community, even though the public seems to be on him. But what Maverick's done recently, he's an 8th, a 16th, and a 9th. And the 16th is more impressive than the 8th and 9th. That was at the Scottish. The 9th and the 8th are at the John Deere and the Barracuda, which events he should have done well in. But he's gained 9 strokes, 7 strokes, and 9 strokes. Like, he's playing good golf right now. It's kind of just going a little bit under the radar. And I said at the beginning of the season, Maverick McNeely will have his first win in a shit field at betting odds under 50 to 1. I don't care what the form is. That's the criteria I'm looking for. Horrible field, under 50-1.
Yeah.
I'm taking him. He finished 16th here last year. That was Maverick 27-1. I think I got him, or 29-1, something like that.
Birdie maker too.
Birdie maker. Driver
So,
putter.
Exactly. Which
Cam
is
champ.
the recipe here. My only thing with Theegala, like, he doesn't have that rest break from not going to the Open Championship. And if I'm paying 9.8, I'd rather find the extra 2 to get to Sungjae. That's really the only knock I have on him. Which,
no, yeah, I agree.
Could he beat Sungjae? Absolutely. No doubt in my mind. But if you're picking between the two, I can easily find the $200, I feel like. Let's move on to the 8K.
8K.
Doesn't get a whole lot bigger here, but I am only on 2 guys, both on the right side of the board. Are you on any of the guys in the upper 8?
I'm on one guy in the upper 8, and that is, yes, you know it.
Tringale,
stud. He was winning. He would have won this event last year if it wasn't for one bunker. That's all I have to say. He's in good form right now. I'm going back to the Tringale. He's coming to a course where he knows well. Field that he can definitely get his first career PGA Tour win in. The stats aren't gonna look amazing on Tringale. He's a low prox guy. He's a guy who just kind of goes under the radar, golfs his ball, kind of around tour average, but he has those sneaky pop weeks if the putter's cooperating. We saw what he did at the first few rounds of the Scottish. Hopefully he doesn't get into the lead early. I love him to kind of steady, then hop on Sunday, because when he got in the lead at the Scottish, he blew it. When he got in the lead last year at the 3M, he blew it. When he got the lead at the Zozo, he kind of blew it. So I like Tringale. I like him in DFS. I think he's in line for a T10, but I did bet him at 30-1.
You're the Tringale whisperer, and you just said he's in line for a top 10.
That's his floor.
Wow.
That's his floor.
Wow. You heard it here. I honestly thought you were going to be on the other Cameron as well.
I've been on the last 2 weeks at the Barracuda and Barbasol. Dude is a talent. What he just makes the dumbest mistakes ever. Yeah. Like, are you playing him?
No.
Yeah. Like the dumbest. He's chalky as hell too.
Yeah. And I mean, the price is
25%,
fine, but
25%.
Much prefer Davis Riley for 100 more.
No, yeah.
If I'm eating any chalk, like, no doubt in my mind.
So I feel like it's so much safer chalk too, because Cameron Davis can eject in a second.
Yep.
Him and Maverick McNeely were the only 2 guys in the top 20 of the Barracuda to go in the water on the back 9. The only 2 guys. Finishing 6th and 7th, blowing my top 5 bets, by the way. The only 2 guys. But that's whatever.
That's whatever. My 2 guys here start off with Brendan Steele, $8,300. Another guy who's well rested. Been almost a month since he's teed up. Travelers, T25. He was second off the tee, second tee to green, 5th in approach. And then looking at the last couple months, he's just been on fire. Number 1 in approach, tee to green, and good drives gained. Second in total proximity. Brendan Steele has had a lot of very good results. We're getting him at $8,300, which I think is an affordable price and a underprice, in my opinion. There's a couple guys ahead of him that I don't think should be ahead of him, and I'm going to take advantage of that $8,300. Nick Hardy's my next one at 8 flat. Honestly, Matt, I was shocked to see that he's 132nd in the FedEx Cup standings. Like, I know that he struggled a bit early on, but ever since, like, he's had 5 straight made cuts with 3 top 15s last week at the Barracuda, T13, T8 at the Travelers, T14 at the U.S. Open, top 5 in the field in the par 4 range from 450 to 5, and then par 5 from 550 to 6, top 5 in both of those. First year on tour, like I said, just starting to find himself. So hopefully these next 3 weeks, he can secure a spot into that next or top 125, so he doesn't have to go back through the Corn Ferry Tour graduate, whatever. I think he's better than 125, and hopefully enough guys push over to live where he can bump up his ranking, but we'll see. I think 8K is a great price on Hardy as well.
Yeah, the guy I'm actually on Steele as well as my other guy, but I'm actually going to change it right now. Talking through it, but I do love Brendan Steele. He was rated out amazing for me.
Yeah,
I bet Martin Laird at 48-1, and his stat profile is very, 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 very similar. And the only reason I'm going to switch is he's half the ownership, and I love, like, that's the only reason. But Martin Laird ranks in these key procs ranges, he ranks 83rd, 13th, and 64th. So that's going to rate out really well in this field. He is 11th on tour in total driving, and the form is pretty solid. He's got 3 straight made cuts, including a 13th and a 3rd place finish, to a 30th place finish in there as well. And I remember it was just a few weeks ago that everyone was on him at like 200 to 1 because he was just modeling out crazy for everyone. I'm not sure what tournament it was, but he was just modeling out. It might have been like the Canadian or something like that. Or I'm not really sure. But everyone was on him. I bet him this week 48 to 1. He was in the contention last week at Barracuda. Obviously a field where he can win. He's a guy who wins once every the last 2 years, I think he won.
Feels like every other.
Yeah, something like that. So Martin Laird, I think he can do it. I got a decent number compared to the market. So that's who I was on Steele as well. But looking at the ownership, I wasn't really sure. I'll save $100 and go with Martin Laird.
All right, let's jump down into the Chris Goddard range. 7,900. I know you're on.
Oh no.
You're not?
I am not on Chris Goddard. And I'm not playing. I don't care who it is. There's good chalk and there's bad chalk. Good chalk, I think, is like Rory McIlroy, 26% at a course he does amazing on year after year. Like John Rahm at Torrey Pines, something like that. Like a guy This is his first year here. Can he perform well? Yeah, for sure. But he's never played here before. So much water on this track. 26% owned for a rookie who does like I literally will say I'm the CEO of Team Goddard. I've been on him, talking about him for 2 years. Like,
and you've called his collapses as well.
Call this collapse. I know, like, I think I'm not calling a collapse here. I think he can do well, but I'm not. I'm realistic. I'm not playing a guy who's near 30% owned, a rookie. He just turned 23 today. Never played here before. Water everywhere. Like, it's just stupid. Like, I get why people are clowning the Goddard stuff on Twitter. You should be clowned. Like, because it's just the talent is there for sure, but I don't know. I just don't think you can play that. I'm being honest.
I saw Sky quoted your tweet and said narrative season though.
Narrative season, like
birthday
week, maybe. But got Chris Goddard up, dude. I love you. I literally love you. You're a stud. But I just can't do it this week. 30% owned, 25% owned, whatever. It's not for me. It's not for me.
What if he was sub 15?
Sub 15, yeah, probably. But also
because I think the price is good.
Price is decent, yeah. But
I will have some exposure because of the price, but I'm going to get different elsewhere. The
price is solid. We know his upside. He's I honestly, I hope he tanks because I love him at Detroit Golf Club. Love him at Detroit Golf Club. So I hope he tanks. Not for you, but I hope he tanks. I'll be on him next week. Hopefully people jump off of him, but I can't do the 30% thing. I just really can't.
Towards the top, I'm on Grillo again. I have not gotten off that train.
Talk to me because I am too.
Don't have to really sell a whole lot. He's still been doing everything decent, putted well at the Open, missed the cut. And like I said, with the trends of last year, only 3 of the 7 guys who finished T11 or better that were at the Open made the cut. So 4 of them missed or finished like outside of the top 10, 15, which is the case for Grillo. Been on him the last couple weeks, and it's the same story. Like making birdies, good proximity, good on these longer par 4s, par 5s, whatever you want to look at. Grillo's doing good. Form's fine. I'm not too worried about the miscut and not having success over the last couple weeks, but I think it's a good price.
Yeah, I definitely like Grillo as well. I'm on him. He is the guy that what's his game? Positional, target golf, hit this spot. Greens are pure. Hopefully he can have a spike putting week, but I think he's a safe guy to make the cut. We've been doing well with Grillo the past few weeks, and we've both been on him. So I'll keep Grillo for now.
Speaking of guys who can have a spike putter week, especially on bent grass, and is outside of the top 125, I'm going to be playing some Ricky.
Oh, wait, was he first round leader here last year, or was that the Rocket? I think it was this week because I bet him. It was the only time I bet Ricky the last year. I bet him he was first round leader with Troy Merritt. I'm not sure if it was this or the. Then he doubled
Ricky
18
Fowler,
on
T1.
Saturday. He doubled 18 on Saturday where he was making a crazy run. So annoying.
He shot a 64 on Thursday last year.
Him and Troy Merritt tied, I think. But
Him, Troy Merritt, Sloan, and Vegas, 4-way.
Yep. All right.
But
Ricky.
129th, I honestly thought he was going to be a live guy. I can't believe that he's not yet. But his T34 here last year was 8th in strokes gained putting. Puts very well on these faster bent grass greens. Here for a reason. Like, he's already committed to next week, obviously, being the Rocket Mortgage Classic. And I saw reports that if he's still outside of that top 125 by a decent chunk, he's going to play at the Wyndham as well. So obviously has clear intentions of being a PGA Tour pro and doing whatever he can to get into the top 125. Like, he's had decent upside finishes. He just hasn't been able to string 4 rounds together. So sub 10% I'm seeing over on fantasypoints.com. I will be on Ricky.
I like that call. He showed it here last year with kind of no form either. So I like that Ricky call. I don't know what possessed me to bet him last year. It didn't result in anything. It was just an outright bet. He finished like what? I don't even know. But he flashed. So
34th,
yeah, finished 34th. But he flashed. So I
and Ricky. Looking at the last 3 months with some of the stuff I was looking at, the par 5s from 550 to 6, number 1 in the field somehow. And he's also top 20 in total proximity. Putter hasn't been fantastic. Driver hasn't been fantastic. But like you said, if you have the ability to make putts, which we've seen plenty of times, we've even seen it recently. Like, even when he's been bad, he's had some of these upside putting weeks. You just got to try and put 4 rounds together. I think Jason Day's in the same boat as him. He's interesting up here. That's going to be, I mean, what do we got? Day at 7% over on fantasy points. So interesting, those two guys. Is there anyone else in the mid 7s to low that you are going to be on?
Well, I'm actually on Cam Champ in the upper 7s. I didn't say it, but what is he off? 4 straight missed cuts, something like that. I was shocked at his price, one, and I was shocked at the ownership. He's about 10% owned. He's obviously the winner of this event last year, but I love the way, obviously, he drives the ball. I don't gonna say that, but I love the way he rates out in the 175 to the 250 range, which is where a lot of these approach shots are gonna come from. And his quotes this week set me like way above everything. I kind of want to bet him now. Basically, they were like, talked about, are you going to look at this course any differently now that you won here? And he's like, it doesn't matter if I won here or lost here, my results. Like, every guy on tour has their courses. I love the way this sets up for me. I love the way these greens roll. This is what I played on when I was younger. And he said, this is the best I've felt with my mind in the past 2 months. I'm happy to be back. I'm happy to get on a course I'm familiar with. So I'm playing Cam Champ, even though he's missed 4 straight. But you said Mexico, similar course.
Exactly.
The courses that he's missed cuts on the last 4 weeks are not really like this, like approach wise. So now he's on a course where he's proven to do well on. So I'm on Champ this week at 7-8.
Yeah, we know what he can do off missed cuts. Like last year, he had 4 straight missed cuts, T11 at the John Deere, and then won the 3M.
Yeah,
he does not. This is not a guy that you want to convince that you're in good form, because right when he shows form, he's going to snap back out of it, and you just don't know when it's going to happen. So,
I'm on Champ.
I like it. Anyone else in the mid?
Last guy in the 7K range is Lee Hodges. I've been on him the last few weeks.
Yep.
He's been good to me, except for that Barbasol where he missed the cut, where I bet him. But I think I was on him from John Deere to the Canadian, where he made 3 straight made cuts, like around the 40th finish, but made cuts is good. He was usually in the mid 6K range, the upper 6K range, which is awesome. He's a great iron player, great in these bucket ranges. Usually has a 1 flash putting day. So I don't know if he can string 4 together, but he was my final bet at 150 to 1, kind of a dart throw. We saw him contend once in a birdie fest at the Amex, so we know he has it in him. He won a Korn Ferry Tour event at, I think, 19 under. So I'm on Lee Hodges this week in DraftKings, and is my final bet at 150 to 1.
Yeah, I honestly like the price in terms of DFS and betting market for Lee Hodges. We've been on him for quite a while, it seems like. So you are fading Ju Young Kim, huh?
I am, and not for any particular reason besides Yeah, he's an extreme talent for sure. Wrote an article today, and I said I'm fading Ju-Young Kim, and it was kind of a narrative thing. Like I wasn't particularly actively fading him to begin with. I wasn't like
Right.
playing him or not playing him. Then I was like, I read the thing, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm really tired after these past few weeks in the UK. He wasn't planning on playing here. Obviously, he got the sponsor, got the special membership thing. But just like Goddard up at the Barbasol, you're getting these opportunities to play, and you're not going to turn them down when you don't have full membership yet. You're going to play." He said, "I'm really tired. The travel didn't really go well, but I'm happy. I'm excited for the opportunity, and I'm going to play." His game feels in a good spot, but last time Goddard had similar quotes. He imploded at the Barbasol. So I'm just not playing any Kim. What's his ownership at now that you say it?
I'm seeing around like 12 to 15%.
Yeah, it's decent for down
which
this
is
range.
which is fair. Like,
yeah,
he's the 8th highest priced player on Yahoo for whatever that means.
Is he really?
He is. Which, if you look at like where his odds are at,
checks out.
Yahoo priced him better than DraftKings did, shockingly, because Goddard up his minimum price on Yahoo.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
He's in the basement. $20.
Like, do they like not have any idea what?
That's why I was shocked to be scrolling and see Ju-Young Kim, because I feel like,
is Yahoo like, do people win big money on that? Like, are there sharps? Are like Yahoo sharps?
I don't know. I'm still like a beginner on Yahoo, so I can get into the events with no sharks. So those people might not find Goddard up, but diamond in the rough off for me.
That's insane.
I might do it. I might do a couple tonight just to see what Goddard's ownership is at.
Do you play them regularly?
No, I do. I get a free entry every week. I just do that one for the most part, like on Monday when I get the email, because it's the only thing not banned on my work computer. So I'll go throw 6 guys in and submit it. I mean,
okay.
I don't check it very often, but do have a little bit of money in there now. So I'm going to go over there and put some together. I'm a non-shark, so we'll be able to get some decent lineups. But yeah, 8th highest. I guess they're getting a little bit more sharp. I don't understand what they use to do this pricing with that discrepancy. But with Ju-Young Kim, I am on him. 73 is way too cheap. The clip you posted earlier today was hilarious.
So funny. So funny.
But seeing what he's already been able to do, I get the fatigue.
Yeah, he's a stud. He's a stud.
20 years old. Honestly, I didn't realize he was already inside the top 40 or the 40th golfer in the world. But the special temporary membership thing is very interesting to me, because he's the youngest player to accept it since Neiman did it 4 years ago, and he was like 19 years old, just signed a big deal with Adidas. Obviously turned out well for him. Kim needs as many FedEx Cup points as the 25th golfer in, but he can't get in the playoffs. Non-member rank is 5th. You know the 4 guys ahead of him in the non-member rank?
Chris Goddard,
Patrick Reed, Dustin Johnson, Kevin Na, Sergio Garcia.
Oh my God.
I thought that was hilarious, because
that is hilarious.
I have never stumbled across the non-member rankings for FedEx Cup points, and I was like, oh, okay, he's got 296, seeing those 4 guys ahead of him. Goddard's just behind. But the 296 puts him around like 131, 132. So he's right on that imaginary bubble as well. And clearly with this membership, he's going to play the next 3.
The best is when Zalatoris was like 21st in the non-member points. He would have been like into East Lake already. Didn't have to qualify. It just wasn't allowed.
Yep. So I think that's enough for Kim to show out 73, given like the talent of these guys. I don't really care about fatigue when it comes to that. End of the day, he's 20 years old. Not in peak physical shape by any means. No. But at the same time,
he's got a golfing body.
Yeah, he does. I'm fine with playing him, and even if he's over 15%,
I'm cool with it.
Whatever. I'm just gonna have like a cash. I should just play cash this week if I'm playing every guy that's over 15-20%. But last guy in the 7s, I saw him on your card, Michael Gloogitch.
I did not play him in DraftKings, but I did bet him for sure.
better number on DraftKings than FanDuel. He's like $8,100 on FanDuel, which I mean kind of compares. Just looking at the guys he's around, it seemed a little different to me. Hasn't missed a cut since the beginning of May, so 6 straight. Mexico Open thing, T24. Bentgrass is his preferred putting surface. He ranks 11th in strokes gained putting on bentgrass greens over the last 2 years. Also 2 of 2 at the 3M. Failed to turn in a top 40 finish in those 2 tries, but at 7K flat, just make the cut.
Yeah. It's a T10, a T21, and a T31 his last 3 starts. So
yeah,
he's playing good golf now. He's gaining a lot of strokes on the field. He's a guy who could pop too. I feel like he does 1 to 2 weeks a year. He finishes like T5, and it would be an event like this. This is where Roger Sloan came out of the basement and almost won. Yeah. So maybe Glenn can do the same thing.
Any interest in Callum Tarrant, who seems to be pretty popular over here?
I like him in difficult conditions. That's my take.
Agree. I mean, what's he bring to the table? Distance and a putter.
Distance and a putter, which it's a formula. Can he make that many putts? We saw his putter tail off, and every time it showed up in round 1 of Wells Fargo. He shot like 8 under par, then finished like 67th. And then when he got the lead at the U.S. Open on Friday, he couldn't make a putt inside of 3 feet until Sunday. So I like him in difficult conditions.
And at Puerto Rico. Thing, my FanDuel article, I did put Gim in there for the first time.
Okay.
Price.
Midwest guy. Price. Can pop.
You don't need to know much about Gim to
TPC,
just throw him in there and hope.
I don't hate it.
Yeah. So did throw Gim in there. Last guy, 7K range, and I'll have a sprinkle of is Steven Yeager. Seeing a lot of different ownerships. I don't know what it's going to be at. It's not going to be alarming by any means. I'd be shocked if he sees 5%.
Yeah, but, no reason to.
Pop for me over the last couple weeks, to be honest. His approach is good. Tee to green's been good. Hitting a lot of fairways, hitting a lot of greens, making birdies, like everything that I'm looking for the most part. So I'll be on him as well. Jump down to the 6K range. Who are you on up here in the 6s?
I am actually going to be on Brandon Matthews just in one lineup because of the build. He's getting a little bit too popular for me, I think. Everyone seems to be on him. I mentioned him on Monday morning. He's basically what Cam Champ is. He's just Cam Champ, an absolute nuker of the golf ball. And can he get low? Yes, he can. He has a few Korn Ferry Tour finishes, a Korn Ferry win in the low teens. He was -10 on Saturday before he withdrew, and he withdrew only to come to this event because the leaders were like 17 or something like that. He was -10 through 2.5 days and could have honestly got to -20. Who knows? But he said that it was weather. He wasn't sure what the delays when they were going to tee off. I want to get to Minnesota on time. I'm hyper focused for this event. I'm super ready to compete. He said, I don't come to PGA Tour events to make the cut. I come to win. So those quotes kind of fired me up. I was like, okay, Brandon Matthews. I liked your course fit to begin with. I'll play you a little bit. I don't think he was going to win. I didn't get to the 150-1, but I did sprinkle him in the lineups. But I don't know how well he'll be owned. I think it's kind of just our circle that he's kind of popular in. But the other guy, this upper 6K range I'm in is Bryce Garnett. And Bryce Garnett's form has been pretty bad, but he is 3 for 3 at this track, and he is with no worse finish than 26th. He is an elite tee to green player, elite driver of the golf ball, total driving. He kind of is just really bad with his irons. He hasn't gained with his irons since the Wells Fargo Championship. Yeah, that was a long time ago. But he's coming to a course where he hasn't lost with his irons. So maybe something suits his eye, like the Cam Champ thing. I went with Bryce Garnett at 6'9". And he flashed last week at the CUDA.
Can you tell me why Justin Lauer is getting like 5 to 10%?
I thought he withdrew. I could be so wrong.
Did he? There has been like 20 withdrawals. So
he didn't. It was someone else. Okay. I don't see anything.
Because he showed up for me on these fast bent grass greens. His putter has been on fire over the last couple events. That's the only thing going for him there. But if he's owned at all.
Wait, what do you see his ownership at?
I'm looking at a 6.4, and then
I'm seeing over 5
points of 5.1.
I'm seeing 5.2, and that is significantly the highest out of anyone up here besides Harry Higgs, who you shouldn't play. Yeah, like I don't remember. Yeah, don't play that. Just don't play that.
We have fantasy points as Cole Hammer as a 7% owned guy.
It's a name that people are going to recognize. So, he's got upside for sure. I'm not playing him, but he's got plenty of upside. Plenty of upside.
Especially at that price. You don't have a whole lot to lose.
Yeah.
Outside of this range, I'll have some Austin Cook at $6,700. Pop for me in a couple places. Ben Coles is one of my favorite plays at 65. He's gained on approach in 5 straight now, coming off his best finish of the season. T13 at the Barbasol a few weeks back was inside the field's top 6 in both tee to green and approach. Last 2 months, 4th in total proximity and 6th in approach. So Ben Coles, keep the irons hot. I will play you at $6,500.
Yeah, and my last guy here is Jared Wolf at 6K flat. I never have played anyone at 6K flat. Never really needed to, but I did this week. Ranks 33rd in torn driving distance, bomber, and is kind of elite from the 175 to 250 bucket. And that's kind of the only things he does well. That's kind of all this course asks you to do. So everything else isn't pretty. He's a 6K flat for a reason. Hopefully he can get through the cut for us. You got to find a little stat and run with it. That's what I said. Maybe you'll find yourself a gem. So I went with Jared Wolf at 6K flat.
All right. Let me see. Scrolling through. Peter Malnati was a Mexico guy that I saw.
Peter Malnati, just a Mexican like classic. Everyone knows that.
Yeah. Jim Knus.
Hard K. Let's go. I've been on him the last few weeks.
Popped a little bit for me in some spots. Going down further, it does get gross. David Skins, I actually bet him as top Englishman.
Versus like Callum Tarrant and like who else?
Oh yeah, it was pretty gross. So I did it. It was like 7-1.
Wow. I actually like that bet. He was in like the final group on Saturday of the of the Texas Open, something like that. And he exploded.
Outside of that, not a whole lot going on down there. So, side bet. I think we've missed it the last couple weeks.
Yeah, let's run one. What do you want to
do? Where's the range we kind of skipped?
Who will finish higher, Svensson or Goddard, up at the highest ownership ever?
Let's do the miscut thing again.
Okay. Oh, up top.
Yep. Let's just do the 9 to 10.
Okay,
pick,
so
one guy each. Whoever finishes worse wins, and I'll give you the first pick.
So worst finish in the 9 to 10 range.
Worst finish.
I'll go with Sung Jae.
Okay, I'll take Tigala.
All right,
I love that.
Worst finish.
Love that. I think that was my first win of the year when we did that. It was like Zalatoris versus
next year when the season comes around, we have to do like track it on Twitter, $5 a week. So that makes it really interesting.
Yes, agree. So that'll do it for the final points. 3M Open Edition. We'll be back next week for the Rocket Mortgage in Detroit. Good luck this week. We'll see you next week.
Peace.